Kelly, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
The pandemic has been called the great revealer in that it has drawn back the curtain on already existing stress lines present in America. How has the current environment affected your organization specifically and your career field more generally?
Great question. Well, as you can see, I'm working from home these days, and while that was certainly an adjustment for me and for my entire team, it has paled in comparison to the changes that the population with whom we work have faced. Really, this pandemic has laid bare inequities that have always existed in our society. We have been responding to those needs of our families since this crisis started a few months ago. Everything from students who don't have adequate internet service at home to access online programs, to parents who have experienced job loss or reduction in income, to families who are at risk in their health every day because they are deemed essential workers. So people from marginalized communities are the most vulnerable, and they have been profoundly impacted by this crisis. As an organization, we have shifted some of our resources from regular programmatic funding to provide primary support to families in the way of housing and food assistance during this crisis. As you can imagine, the economics have shifted dramatically over the last few months, and our communities have been hit really hard. The crisis and the quick adjustment that all schools made to virtual learning this spring impacted our students in profound ways. Internet access is something that most schools we work with private schools here in Denver, and the population at those schools have resources at home. The vast majority of students in that population have resources at home. Our students, however, are often sharing rooms with siblings, parents, in small spaces with slow internet speed and small spaces in which to study, not having a quiet place to study, for instance. So we were responding to those changes in ways of providing hotspots, providing better internet access, helping students to strategize places for quiet learning, supporting them in their learning, given that many of our parents are uneducated and didn't have the opportunities that our scholars have, to help them with homework at home, to help them with assignments. So we were responding to all kinds of needs around students learning in this virtual environment. The crisis, however, has also impacted our scholars and families in ways that may not be immediately evident. For instance, I just want to share one quick story. A father of one of my students missed his daughter's high school graduation last week because he simply could not afford to miss another day of work. His daughter is the first in the entire family to complete high school. And as I sat on the family's porch earlier this week, the father had tears in his eyes as he shared his sadness at not being able to attend such an important day. So things that we take just for granted have been shifted entirely. It's like a fault line has occurred and we are truly in this new space. You know, you saw across Facebook and social media platforms that many families from means were bemoaning the fact that they had to now homeschool their children, and they expressed appreciation for their teachers and the faculty at their child's school. But for a child from a vulnerable population, school is not only appreciated, it is essential. It provides the basic necessities. It might provide the one meal a child gets that day. It's a safe place. It's free childcare. And yes, it's a place of learning and mentoring. Yet, the schools that fulfill these multiple roles are often the most under-resourced. So I think the big question that faces educators going forward is, how do we create environments where all students can develop skills necessary to equip them to solve the problems that we face? How do we make sure that all schools are resourced when they're now overburdened and underfunded? So those are big questions I think we're going to be grappling with in the future.